Nyamgondo is a story that was told many, many years ago.
I'll let you take all the pleasure that you can.
Good Media One family, you are here again with Howie. And as usual, I'm bringing to you the people who are doing amazing things in this our amazing city. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe and interact with our content. Before I introduce this amazing gentleman, I want to let you know how it started. Just a little of how it started. It happened to start under a mango tree. I am here with the creator, director, CEO, all the titles, just like the amazing title of his name, that is Mkubwa. I am here with Godfrey Mkubwa, who happens to be the CEO of the East Africa Poetic Hour Battle. Godfrey, please, salimia sisi.
Habari zenyu nyinyi. Am I allowed to, you didn't give me the rules of engagement. Am I allowed to touch the microphone? You know, I'm a
No.
gentleman. I'd love to hold the microphone for you.
No. So yes, just tell us your name. Let's start with your government name, and then we'll get into the Poetic Hour.
My government name's Godfrey Emoza Kedogo. My adopted name is Mkubwa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Do you want to know how Mkubwa came about? So when I started out, I used to be a 1GB, and then one day somebody lied to me that I should actually join them at the gym, and then I started going to the gym, and then the transformation came with the name Mkubwa.
So the name Mkubwa basically came because kitambo you are, what's the Kiswahili for it? Ulikuwa umemeza juala. You are 1GB.
Yeah, the Kiswahili for it is people. It's mdogo, but my name is Kedogo. So most of the people used to think that Kedogo means small. But from my culture, it is actually a cultural name, but not a depicting of the size. So since they were referring to me as Kedogo because of the size, I decided, let me change it for you. Yeah.
Switch it up. You switch it up to Mkubwa. And as you can see, it's making a lot of sense. The Mkubwa is making a lot of sense. I mentioned it in passing about how the Poetic Hour started under a mango tree. Mm-hmm. Please tell us a little bit more about that mango tree.
Oh my goodness, that mango tree was so phenomenal, so beautiful, and so monumental to the creative space in the Western region. That used to be at the Alliance Francaise, and I'm glad that is where you and I, most people don't know, they don't know that side of you. I'm so sure they are hiding, you're hiding it from the world, but I'm hoping they get to see that bit sometime. So under that mango tree, that is where the shape up of the creative space in Western Kenya took place, from the designing of the poetry space, getting the poetry narrative from it just being something for the textbooks, to introducing it to the public as a source of entertainment and important information. That is where we birthed Poetic Hour, which was just a 1 hour poetry show for people from 4 to 5 p.m. wakitoka job, wanapitia for 1 hour poetry show, and then they go home. So that is where it started from. We had other groups and other artists, including musicians, actors, dancers. Very heavy on the dancers bit of it. And dancers too, all at that space at the Alliance Francaise in Milimani under that mango tree. It still exists. It's still there, just that the space changed. Yeah.
The space definitely has changed, as you mentioned. You've given us how monumental it was, starting from that mango tree. But just to add a little bit of details, in case you didn't know what that mango tree really looked like. It was just a mango tree. It's not an analogy of some sort. It was a literal mango tree. And when you guys commenced, we used to just catch up from 4 to 5, like he said, different creatives, dancers like myself. Let's throw that out there now that Godfrey decided to open that book. Yes, dancers, rappers, singers. And I remember it used to be a space that there were never enough chairs. There were never enough chairs, but people used to still come. People used to come, they would be standing, they would be sitting, they would sit on the grass, they'd sit on, a crate of soda, anything that they could grab a seat just to listen to these artists and to these poets. What I wanted to ask you is, what was the initial push that started the Poetic Hour?
The initial push that started the Poetic Hour was basically to introduce a new form of entertainment to the Kisumu audience. During that period of time, the only thing that people knew as a source of entertainment was the clubs around, and Kisumu had such a vibrant clubbing culture. But now, when it comes to live performance and theater culture, at that particular time, it was completely dead, and we needed to bring that out so that not just for the artists, but the parents of young talented kids would get that confidence to send their kids to practice what they loved. So that was the push that drove us to starting the Poetic Hour. Yes.
And how many years since the mango tree till now?
We are actually celebrating our 10th year anniversary this year. Yes. We started the Poetic Hour at the Mango Tree at the Alliance Francaise in 2013, but officially registered Talent Industry Limited on October 2014. In October 2014. Yes. So it's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years, and it's been 10 years of so much, journey. I think for those of us who may be just getting to know of the East African Poetic Hour battle, it seems like it just came up and found itself already at this amazing venue. And, it seems like it was easy. It was just a click of the fingers and it happened. But I'm sure the reality may be very different. So from the time it started till where it's at right now, what can you say has been the most challenging, and what can you say has been the most rewarding in the 10 years?
The most challenging, I'll say, since it was under the mango tree, we used to literally feed on the mangoes from that tree. That was that was our breakfast and our lunch, and then home we would get our supper at home. But what has been the most rewarding is the trees, or rather the fruits that were born from that mango tree. To date, they shine so bright. And just to mention but a few, we have artists such as A.D. Mr. Rizawa Henga, we have artists such as Dawe Dawe, we have artists such as Apesi, we have artists such as Okelo Max. These are people who performed under that mango tree. We have artists who's currently based in the USA called Ivy Mangicho, and the list is endless. So what was the challenge? Feeding the mangoes under that mango tree. What is the reward? There are fruits that were born out of that space and out of that mango tree. Looking at them, what they're doing currently in the creative space, it is just too rewarding. To add on to that, we have the event itself, the Poetic Hour, from starting being a 1 hour local gig with an audience of 7, and you are part of that 7. You were part of that 7. It was basically the artists who were rehearsing at that space who grabbed a seat and they came, sat down behind there and listened. They were like, okay, this is a great start. Let's keep rolling, to now opening up the doors to the entire East Africa and having artists from Kampala, Rwanda, Kigali in Rwanda, Kampala in Uganda, Juba in South Sudan, all of them traveling and coming down to Kisumu just to share the cultural space in regards to poetry and to compete for a cash prize. It is the best reward I could and fulfillment that I could ever wish for. Yes.
When you mentioned the mangoes, I remember they were sweet. Luckily, they were sweet. They were quite sweet. But as you said, the fruits that are now showing are much much sweeter, and it has made the whole journey completely worth it. But now, for most youth and most young people, one of the things we tend to struggle with is consistency. So maybe you can tell us, how were you able to maintain your consistency from the mango tree to now Sarova?
Basically, it was understanding the purpose. Like, just from the start, I knew this was my purpose. This is what I was born to do. This is, regardless of how much I tried running away from it, it kept pulling me back. So if I didn't understand that as a purpose way back then, I would have given up along the way to find my purpose. So it is just each and everyone understanding whatever it is that you're doing, are you doing it for the fun of it, or is it your calling? If it is your calling, then you will be in it for the long run. Yes.
And maybe what can you say about those people, or were they those people on your journey who maybe told you, bana siwache hii kitu, whether those people who discouraged you, and if they were, what can you tell somebody who may be feeling discouraged in whatever they're trying to fulfill as their purpose right now?
Most definitely, there were those people, and interestingly enough, they were not from far. Family, very close. Ati unaenda wapi? Naenda Lyons. Kufanya nini? Mashairi. Kijana yangu, mbona utaki kukuwa mwalimu? You get I had that war with my mom for the longest period, each and every time trying to explain to her what the art was and why that is what I wanted to do, what I wanted to focus on. And but along the way, she started, I don't know whether she started giving up or she started understanding. It's a fine line. It's a very fine line, but basically just being consistent and getting to show. She knew that I was meant to be an artist in one way or another. I used to hop into the trailers that had music and people were dancing to compete for a t-shirt way back when I was a kid. So she knew that was in me. But yeah, there were those discouragement, and not just from other people, but internally too. Being in the space, doing it. Remember, we were coming in at a point where there was no industry. We were creating an industry for ourselves. And that process of creating an industry, it is not easy. It is not. It requires a lot of investment in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of resources, and every other thing. And it is crazily draining. So there is that internal pressure of getting yourself. How are you able to sustain yourself, and at the same time be able to focus on this thing that isn't really cashing in at that moment? So that pressure too was there, and there was that inner voice that was telling you, yo, you know what, you have to leave this thing alone and focus on something that will pay your bills and move you forward. Yes, yes. So there was that, but most importantly, again, understanding, is it your purpose? If it is, trust me, do it and go for it and go for the long run. At the end of it all, I always say, itajipa.
Tajipa indeed. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the upcoming event. It's happening on the 25th. You can maybe tell us what we're going to expect. And yeah, what maybe is different from last year to this year.
Oh my goodness, what are we expecting? We are expecting it to be giving red carpet, to be giving entertainment, to be giving value, to be giving. I understand that is how Gen Zs say it nowadays. So what it's not going to give is, I was almost saying Zimbabwe, but it won't be giving Zimbabwe. But but we might open up the doors to the entire Africa soon. So Zimbabweans, and if you're watching me, I am. But anyway, we are expecting a glamorous event to begin with, and two, we are expecting an exhibition of talent the cream de la cream of talent in terms of poetry and spoken word from around East Africa. It is the greatest gathering of poets in East Africa. There is no other gathering of poets in East Africa other than these. The artists from Kampala, from Juba, they are so psyched up for this. We have a caravan of supporters for the artists from Kampala who are traveling down, coming to Kisumu to cheer on their team. The same is happening with the artists from South Sudan. So, oh my goodness. Well, be there. Just be there. Just be there. We'll be having the red carpet, the VIP treatment, and everything nice. We have a special congregation of the corporate sector, which is very important, from the partners whom we have, those whom we've approached, those who've called us to book for their corporate tables just to be able to experience that event. So we are expecting networking, like networking to the next level. You see those people that you want to meet, and it is very hard for you to access them because of their office setup and bookings and etc. Imagine having that access for free at the East Africa Poetic Hour Battle this year. That is what we are expecting. That is the space that we are creating for any person who wants to network. We are expecting it to be giving networking. What is going to be different this year? We have a very good representation from artists from outside. Last year we had about, Kenya was holding up to 60% of the representation. This year we have 7 from Kenya, 6 from Uganda, 5 from South Sudan, and 2 from Rwanda. So you can imagine how the competition is going to be. That is the element that is going to be different. Other than that, we are maintaining the standards and keeping it, raising the bar.
And just before we let you go, because of course I know 25th is just around the corner, and there are a bunch of things I'm sure you still need to organize and put in place and do, etc. But maybe tell us something that nobody knows about Godfrey.
Oh, okay. Nobody knows that I come from a family of 13.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I come from a family of 13 siblings. Yes.
Your number?
I think I'm number 8 or number 8. Every single time I'm asked that question, I have to start counting from the top, except Brannies, Iris, Beaver, Dory, Sylvia, Sylvia, Gilbert. I'm number 8.
Number 8. Wow. That is really, really amazing. Godfrey, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing with us the story that started under a mango tree. Now is currently going to be held at Sarova, that is here in Kisumu, the Imperial, on the 25th, that is. Starting time?
Starting from 6 p.m. on the dot. Please be there at 6. Last year, we were planning to start the event at 7, so we put 6 p.m. so that people could, like, we're used to Africans coming 1 hour later. Do you know what happened? The First Lady arrived at the event at 6 sharp. So the event had to start at 6 sharp. People who came at 7:30 p.m. found the hall completely full. And those who had paid VIP had to sit at the back. So especially if you're paying for a VIP ticket, please arrive early. Tusikwe na embarrassment.
So no African timing. Don't even try it. If you're late, sorry for you. Me, I'll make sure I'm early. I will make sure I get my seats comfortably where I can see all the artists and, of course, have a fantastic night. But once again, I have been Howie. Please continue to interact with our content and continue to follow up with Godfrey when it comes to the East African Poetic Hour Battle. Maybe you can share with us some of your pages, the East African page and your personal pages, just for the audience to check you out.
Fantastic. For the East Africa Poetic Hour Battle, everywhere it's at Our Poetic. That is Poetic Hour reversed. our Poetic. For my personal pages, you can find me on Twitter at Kedogo Godfrey. You can find me on Instagram at Emoja Godfrey. And you can find me on Facebook at Godfrey Mkubwa.
Thank you so much.
You are watching Media One International, always fast and fast. Like, share, and subscribe.